thinking about moving to Florida and wondering what are some things that you need to consider and look for in a home before you purchase, then stick around. You're not going to want to miss this video. My name is Megan Schoner. I'm a local real estate agent here on Port St. Lucie on the Treasure Coast. I've lived here over close to 20 years, and I love showing everybody every week why I love the Treasure Coast so much and helping you find your treasure here on the Treasure Coast. Whether you are looking to move here in the next 9 days, 90 days, or in the next year or two, I'm happy to always be a resource for you. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss this video. So the first thing you should consider, and you might hear when you're meeting with someone, is do you want a CBS house? And you're saying, what in the world is CBS? So CBS stands for concrete block structure. The way that our homes are made here, obviously being, with the hurricanes coming in our area, our construction is a little bit different than in other parts of the country. So a concrete block structure, CBS structure, is more beneficial in terms of your insurance. It is the preferred build type of most homeowners down here. With a concrete block structure, it is basically cinder blocks that are built on top of each other with kind of a stucco facade on the outside of it. What that does is it allows for you to be able to move any of the interior walls because all of your structure is from the outside. That is also, in terms of from your insurance perspective, your insurance premiums will be a little bit less on a concrete block structure than they will a frame. So frame is the same thing as a wood house. Sometimes people call it a stick house. Frame houses are still good. They hold up in the hurricanes, but your insurance premiums might be a little bit higher on a frame house, and also the cost of a frame house is going to be a little bit less than the exact same house if it was concrete block. There's just more demand for the concrete blocks homes. So that's CBS versus a frame house. So that's going to be the first thing is your construction. The second thing is always make sure you ask and talk to your realtor about what is the age of each roof that you are considering. The reason that we say that is even though most of the homes here, the roofs are fine, 20, 25, 30 years, the insurance companies again are really cracking down on the age of the roof and making it hard to get insurance on homes with roofs older than 15 years or so. So that is going to be one thing that's going to factor into the price of the home, and you really want to make sure that that you ask for what the age of the roof is, because you may be able to get insurance the first year, but maybe year 2 or 3 down the road, the insurance company might ask you to put on a brand new roof, or they're going to drop you. So if you are buying a home that has an older roof, just make sure you factor that cost in of being able to replace the roof in the next couple of years if that does come up. So another thing to always look at is the age of the roof. The next thing to think about too is the components, basically the AC and the water heater. We always ask about that. The reason we say the AC, obviously it's South Florida, it's hot, our ACs are running year round. So you want to make sure that you just find out, the age of the AC and the water heater. So ACs down here will last, 6, 8, 10 years kind of max. So you just want to again make sure that the ages of those so that you can factor those costs in if you do need to replace them. So an AC at this point down here is going to be a factor about $8,000 at this point per AC. And then the water heater has to be permitted down here. So again, you're talking probably about $1,500 if you do need to replace that. So not big things, but again, you want to just make sure you know the components, of the home and stuff as you're getting into it. So I have a lot of buyers that are asking me about, is this house in a flood zone? It's always good to know and have your, realtor check to see if you are in a flood zone or not, or what flood zone grouping you are, letter grade, because that does factor into your insurance. But the big thing with flood zones and flood insurance, I always recommend for my buyers to get flood insurance. The reason for that is with your insurance, you're going to get the hurricane insurance, and that's great. But what ends up happening is that only covers for wind, anything wind related. So if your roof blows off because of the wind, then then you can file the insurance claim. But what we see is most of the damage is actually coming from the rain. So if you have any kind of rain and water damage from the hurricane, it's not going to be covered by your hurricane insurance. It's only going to be covered by flood insurance. So it doesn't cost that much more to get the flood insurance, and it's going to give you the coverage that you need. So whether or not you're in a flood zone or not, I always recommend people to get their flood insurance with policy. The other thing to consider down here in Port St. Lucie specifically, and some areas in Martin County as well, some in Stewart and Jensen Beach, is some of our homes are a little bit older, and they do run on either septic tanks or well water. So it's not as common, but you may want to just find out specifically if you have a VA loan or especially like an FHA, a first-time home buyer loan, they may want you to be able to convert to city water. That is available. So just something to think about, just to ask. Most of the homes are not on that anymore, but better safe than sorry to to ask that as well. There's nothing wrong with being on the septic tank. It does save you money from being on the city sewer, but in terms of the loan that you have, you may need to make sure that you're on, if it is available, that you can hook up to that. Another thing too to consider is when people move down here to Florida, they're usually coming from other areas of the country that have attics and basements. Obviously, we don't have those down here, so storage always becomes a big premium. So one thing to think about is, do you want a 2-car garage or a 3-car garage? A lot of times people will use their garage basically, as our friends up north and other areas use, their basements and stuff for storage. So we're using our garage mostly for storage. There are some homes that have the pull down stairs, and there is usually a little bit of storage above the garage. But if you need a lot of storage, you may want to consider a 3-car garage. Other thing too, sometimes people use the third part for their golf carts. So just another thing to consider. If you are looking to find your treasure here on the Treasure Coast, I love helping people find their treasure here on the Treasure Coast. If you are looking for a home in the next 9 days, 90 days, or the next year or two, I'd be happy to help you along the search. Please hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted to my weekly videos. My name is Megan Schoner. I'm a local real estate agent here in Port St. Lucie on the Treasure Coast. I love showing people every single day why I love the Treasure Coast so much.